When learning to cook, you need to understand the basic methods and principles of cookery. Those principles can then be applied to any dish from any country in the world. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the techniques, ingredients and equipment used by professional chefs globally. Understanding the methods of cookery, it's like understanding a universal culinary language. Hello and welcome. Today we're going to talk about braising. Now, braising is a fantastic method where we take large whole joints of meat or even a whole bird and we braise it in the oven at 160 to 180 degrees for quite a long period of time until it falls apart and becomes really tender. It is important that you choose a nice tough cut of meat, such as the neck or shoulder, or if it is a bird, make it an older one because the young chickens will become very dry during the braising process. We need to add lots of flavour, such as thyme, carrots, onion and celery, and that will really boost the sauce. Now what I've got over here is a leg of lamb. It's been trussed, which means it's been tied up in string. And what this does is it holds the lamb together while it's cooking. It makes it cook more evenly, it's easier to present, and ultimately makes a better product on the plate. I should mention also that if you're braising vegetables, make sure you use root vegetables. Carrots, onions, parsnips and turnips are fantastic, and when you do braise them, keep them down at about 140 to 160 degrees, otherwise they'll fall apart. Now with this lamb, we need to coat it in flour. Make sure you add your salt and pepper to the flour so it just gently salts the meat. If you add salt to the liquid, it can get too salty during the cooking process. Now, we've got a nice hot pot. We need to add some oil to the pot. You can use butter if you choose, as long as you do have a fat in the pot. Make sure it's nice and hot. You need to get a beautiful browning caramel colour on the meat. It's important that you turn the meat regularly and don't leave it too long on one side, otherwise it will burn. Once you've achieved a fantastic brown colour on the meat, remove it, and then we add the vegetable to the pot and we get some beautiful colour on the vegetables as well. So we add the vegetables to the hot oil and make sure that we get lovely colour on the vegetables as well. This is mirepoix. Mirepoix is celery, carrots, onion, a little bit of thyme and bay leaves, essential flavourings for all soups and stews. We want to saute them until they get a beautiful colour, and then we'll deglaze them with some white wine. White wine adds a beautiful flavour to the braise and it also lifts all the lovely sediment up into the sauce, adds wonderful colours and textures to the sauce. Now while I'm waiting for that to brown, I want to make a cartouche. And a cartouche is a circular piece of paper which sits on top of the meat. And what it does is it keeps all of the steam that's lifting from the pan and it hits the cartouche and drops straight back down onto the meat. It avoids having too much evaporation on the meat. Now the vegetables are beautiful and brown, got lovely colour, and that's what's going to create a lovely brown sauce. Now we just deglaze that with our white wine and you'll hear it sizzle and all of those lovely colours will come up into the sauce. Now that the white wine is reduced, we're going to add our lamb back into the mirepoix. And as I mentioned earlier, we need to half cover it with liquid, and that's really important. It gets a browning colour on top of the meat, but it gets almost like a wet stewed colour underneath. Whenever you're making a lamb braise, make sure you use lamb stock. And if you're making a chicken one, use chicken stock. It really does complement the sauce. Because remember, a braised dish is always served with the sauce that it's cooked in, so it's paramount what you put in that sauce. We cover it with a cartouche, put on a nice tight fitting lid, and then we place it in the oven 160 to 180 degrees and approximately 4 hours. The lamb has had 4.5 hours in the oven now and it should be falling apart. We'll have a look. Okay, lifting up the cartouche. The lamb looks good. Best way to test is to use a knife and just gently insert it into the meat, and if it goes in and out easily, it's absolutely perfect, and it is. I'll take that out and reduce the sauce. it's important to strain it very well because all of the bits of mirepoix and herbs that are in there need to be taken out. And the beautiful thing about making a sauce this way is all of the flavours from the braise are in it. However, it does need to be the right consistency. A coating consistency means the sauce will coat the back of a spoon, and that means it will stick to the meat and it won't run all over the plate. When carving the meat, it's really important to carve across the grain. Sometimes with a shoulder, it is quite hard to do because the grains do run in different directions. But if you're using a leg of lamb, it's easy to find the grain. Sauce is perfect, we pour it over the meat and we're done. And there you have it, beautiful tender shoulder of lamb braised in the oven. Remember, it's not what you cook, it's how you cook it.